All right, welcome. So this is the Jennair espresso system, the built-in coffee system. A couple of parts I want to cover before we turn it on and I show you how to make coffee with it. First and foremost, this is on satin glides, so it actually pulls all the way out. It's important not to install it too high up because over here, if you want to get in a little bit closer and see it, this is your bean grinder. So here you have a little grind selector, and you've got 13 levels of grind that you can select from here, and you can have your coffee in here. Now if you're using pre-ground coffee, right here you're going to have a little scoop and you can do a single dose of your ground coffee, which is usually what you would use for decaf. Now, a couple of things that are really great about this unit is that first and foremost, it only hooks up to a 110 power source, and it doesn't need to be plumbed to water, but I'll show you what we do for water here in a second. So the other thing, you see how we've got tons of storage space here on the sides. You can have, your sweeteners and your coffee, anything you want just sitting there.
I'm going to come on the other side. And we have cups on this side.
Now the main power button is right back here, if you want to show it. So this is the main power button. You don't have to worry about turning this on and off all the time, because if we come back around to the front, the machine is on but it's sleeping, and the sleeping button is a little gray button right down here. So what we're going to do is press that and our machine is going to start to heat up. Now the Jennair espresso system uses a double boiler, which is what's going to get us the perfect temperature for brewing the coffee. So it's heating up there. A couple of parts I want you to note. Down here you'll see that we've got 2 LED lights. And then here where the water's dispensing, it automatically rinses itself so that if there's any buildup of anything back there from the last time you used it, it gets cleaned out so you have nice, fresh, crisp coffee. This is a drip tray. We're going to remove it in a second so I show you how easy it is to clean out the whole machine. But anything can drip directly in here, and when it gets full, there's a little red floater that'll pop up. Now, this is the coffee dispenser here. It is adjustable. You can just push it up and down, so depending on the size of coffee cup that you're using, you can change the height of this. And this is your hot water spout. So if you don't want to do coffee, you just want hot water for your tea, you can simply press the hot water button here and you'll get hot water dispensed through here. Now some of the internal parts, this is your water reservoir. It's very easy to pull out. And you just fill that up with water and put it right back in there. When it needs to be refilled, the machine will let you know. So while we have this out, let's take a look at some of the interior components. So to open up the machine, it's very easy. You've got 3 little holes right here. I usually just grab a hold of one and pull it out, and the door will flip open. So this is your entire cleanable portion. This is where the ground coffee pucks are going to fall, and you just dump this out and then give it a little rinse. And this is your drip tray. So the drip tray is something you can take over to the sink and also rinse out. Put all of this back in here. The machine will also tell you when you've got too many grounds in that container and it's time for you to clean it. So, put the water back in. See, it's telling me to fill tank, and now my tank is full. So a couple different selections that you can make here is, first of all, your cup size. So let's say you want to do anywhere from a small single shot of espresso all the way to a 12-ounce cup of coffee. You would be able to select that by just toggling this button. The mug setting, if you do a mug and you press the 2 coffee button, which is going to use both spouts, that's where you'll be getting up to 12 ounces of coffee. Now, if you toggle the strength, here we have it set to extra strong. This is where you would select to use your ground coffee. That would be your mildest. And then you go from extra mild all the way up to your extra strong. Now, if you don't want to do an espresso, you just wanted to get a good old cup of coffee, you would do mug, extra mild 2 coffee, and you'd be getting the equivalent to just a good old cup of joe. Personally, I like my coffee strong, and we're going to be doing small cups for this demo. All right, so if you want to do a single shot of espresso at this point, we would just press 1 coffee. If we want to do a double shot, we would press 2. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to adjust this down so it's closer to my mug, and all you have to do here is press 2 coffee for a double shot. You can hear the grinder turning on, and there's always going to be a progress bar for everything that the machine does, so you'll know exactly when it's done dispensing. If at any point you feel you have enough of something, you can always just press the OK button and it'll stop what it's doing immediately. That's how you cancel. So one thing that's really important about espresso is making sure you're brewing it at the right temperature. When you're brewing pure espresso, you definitely want to see that coffee cream separating and sitting up at the top. That's how you know that you're getting a really good brew, when you have a little bit of separation of that acidity. So there we go, a nice double shot of espresso. Now, you notice how here we also do have a cappuccino button. That's the one that we're going to use anytime we want to do a beverage that involves frothing milk. Now, to froth the milk, we're just going to take this hot water spout off, and then we're going to use the included milk carafe. So the milk carafe is really, really cool. You can choose between doing a cappuccino or a latte. So a latte is less foam and a cappuccino is really foamy. And you just kind of push that selector up and down. So I'm going to leave it on cappuccino. And you just install that right where the water spout goes, because it's going to steam the milk. All the steaming happens here in the lid. This milk, the actual jug, can sit in the refrigerator because it self-cleans. So I'm going to pop that spout out. We're going to leave it on small cup. Let's change it to an extra strong because we're going to be doing a cappuccino. We'll get a fresh cup here. Now, to do cappuccino, it's also very simple. You just press the cappuccino button and it will automatically froth the milk and then dispense the right amount of espresso for the size of cup that you selected. Our progress bar on the cappuccino. Probably about halfway through you'll see it switch over to espresso. And now we'll hear the grinder going and it'll switch over to coffee. Now, one thing that's also really important, this milk is cold. We want to make sure that this milk is actually frothing at a really high temperature so that you get the right flavors going. So as this coffee dispenses, what we should see is a separation of the milk itself down here in the bottom. The coffee will be collecting in between the milk and the froth, which is mostly just the milk fat. That's why we recommend using full fat milk. Any milk will do. You can do almond milk, you can do any type of milk that you like, but the more fat there is in the milk, the more you'll see that macchiato separation. So there we go, a perfect cappuccino. Now, I'm going to take our awesome beverages away. Let's clean the milk frother.
Okay, I'm going to stop this.